I don't think there's enough respect for the royal family on this
Songs
programme
to
so
invade
far.
Poland.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at TV presenters who apparently don't know how to do their job. We're specifically looking at presenters who perform poorly, rather than presenters who are awful people. And some of these stars can be competent, but they've had at least one infamous job.
Well, you can stay and just...
Well, I'd love to, but I don't do impressions.
Yeah.
I can't get this off. Well, I'll get it off next year.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 10. Barney Walsh.
Welcome to the toughest game show on earth, and as ever.
When the Gladiators reboot began airing in 2024, there were a lot of comments about Barney Walsh's presenting ability and how he was able to land the job in the first place. Barney is only famous because of his dad, Bradley, whom he co-hosts Gladiators with, leading to nepotism allegations.
And of course, we've got people who are in fantastic shape and spend their whole life in the gym.
Well, I wouldn't say I spend the whole life in the gym, but you know, that's the way it goes.
It would be one thing if he turned out to be immensely gifted at presenting, but that doesn't appear to be the case. You could say that he's still young and has a lot to learn if he wants to make this his career, but equally, you could say that he shouldn't have been given the gig if he wasn't up to snuff, famous dad or not.
Interesting thing is he does ballet as well. Dad, who wants to see him do some ballet?
Number 9. Jimmy Carr. Now, Jimmy Carr is a television staple, and he's one of the best presenters in the business, but not one person wanted to see him front the infamous In-Betweeners reunion in 2019.
Hi, Jimmy. Lovely to have you here.
Lovely to be here.
No, you played... Wow, you are quite the actor.
Though he's a well-known celebrity fan of the show, he didn't have anything to do with it, and his jokes and laugh rubbed salt in the wound that this wasn't a scripted episode. But if Channel 4 insisted on it being a talk show style retrospective, the obvious choice to present wasn't Jimmy, but Greg Davies.
You gonna let him get away with that?
That's all right. I'll handle him later. Don't.
He was there in the audience, but wouldn't it have been great to see Gilbert take charge? The episode was so poorly received that James Buckley publicly apologised, and it's a rare misstep on Carr's CV.
I mean it, Jimmy. I'll destroy him. I mean it.
Like you destroyed his mum at the end of the second film.
Number 8. Phillip Schofield.
I have those names there. Those are the names on a piece of paper. You know the names on that piece of paper. Will you be speaking to those people?
His departure from ITV did paint him as a villain, but let's not forget, Schofield made plenty of bad judgment calls over the years as he presented this morning.
Well, these are extremely serious allegations, and that's why the government has moved so quickly to try and get to the bottom of exactly what they are.
He was known to be rude and arrogant to many of his co-stars, notably Fern Britton and Amanda Holden, but he most egregiously got ITV sued for libel. This was when he was wheeled out to interview David Cameron and gave him a list of alleged paedophiles, demanding he investigate.
Because otherwise, a momentary cursory glance at the internet. It took me about 3 minutes last night to continually find a list of the same names.
Some of the names were legible to viewers, and one of the accused successfully sued for defamation. Schofield was seriously reprimanded by the broadcaster for the outrageous stunt. Number 7. Gordon Ramsay. His no-nonsense attitude to bad cooking and terrible business owners are what make him so popular, but it's hard to ignore that Gordon has saved almost none of the restaurants he's ever visited on Kitchen Nightmares.
How can you eat that? If you knew they were off, why didn't you say?
No, I didn't. I didn't know they were off.
He's great on Hell's Kitchen, and of course MasterChef Junior, but many Kitchen Nightmares participants have only had bad things to say about Gordon. In particular, the first episode at Bonaparte's has gone down in history for all the wrong reasons.
Restaurant owner hits back after TV nightmare.
Since then, Bonaparte's restaurant has hit rock bottom.
Sue, the owner, refused to reappear on the revisit and later accused the production of making her look bad on purpose. This prompted Gordon to successfully sue for libel. It was just one failure among many.
So they're not serving any food now?
No, nothing. She said she can't trust chefs and she doesn't know what she's looking for in a chef or all like that, so she's not going to bother at all.
Number 6. Richard Midley. It's a miracle Midley still has so many top jobs on the box, as he's now replaced Piers Morgan on Good Morning Britain, given his bizarre presenting style.
Now, probably because of all the programming that I've done, particularly with Judy, about anorexia and eating disorders, I'll say this, I probably would have clocked it.
Often described as a real-life Alan Partridge, Midley seems cursed to produce baffling sound bites and gaffes across his many jobs.
I hate the sight of the burqa when I have seen it. I do see it as a symbol of oppression.
There was the time he said he supported a burqa ban in the UK, the time he called someone a bad father for not noticing their daughter's eating disorder, the time he asked squatters if they stole food from Waitrose, and worst of all, his tone-deaf comments about beloved pets dying, though his Ali G impression was surprisingly good.
What price do you put on your pet's care? Is there a point where you say, too expensive, the dog has to die?
Number 5. Chris Evans. He's had a lot of successful presenting gigs, still popular for his legendary stint on TFI Friday in the 90s.
I'm very happy. I'm in my happy place.
But not everybody is a fan, and he had a truly abysmal run on Top Gear. Following the high-profile departures of Clarkson, Hammond and May, Evans, a lifelong Carr fan, stepped up to host.
The first series fronted by Chris Evans, and now we learn the only one he'll appear in.
But nearly nobody liked him on the show, including his co-star Matt LeBlanc, who allegedly refused to return for a second series if Evans was still there. Evans left, and the lineup kept changing, and the whole show has now been shelved indefinitely by the BBC.
Stepping down from Top Gear. Gave it my best shot, but sometimes that's not enough.
He also presented the rubbish reality show Famous and Fearless, as well as an appalling documentary from 2011 celebrating the life of Jimmy Savile.
I'm a disc jockey. I ride records, I don't ride bikes.
Number 4. Clive Anderson. His 90s talk shows were predicated on him being a rude interviewer, and he did excel in that role. But even he doesn't look back on those years kindly, with numerous incidents where guests were outraged by what he was saying.
But Saturday Night Fever kind of stamped its identity on you and you on it. And he sometimes described as a bit of a millstone.
Most notable was the time the Bee Gees walked out, after he repeatedly insulted them, blaming them for the 1970s many fashion faux pas.
I think this decade is the decade that fashion forgot.
Yes.
Because everybody's going back to the 70s and wearing the same clothes again.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you probably still had yours, did you?
My daughter's wearing mine.
He's just one celebrity of many who couldn't make the transition to presenting a talk show, though. Michael McIntyre also had a poorly received talk show, as did TV royalty Davina McCall. Anderson has since said he regrets how he talked to the Bee Gees.
In fact, I might just leave.
Yeah. Oh, I've never had anyone walk out before, but...
we are a tosser, pal.
Number 3. James Cordon.
Yeah, but don't touch. Keep a distance. Famous people and you guys. OK.
Luckily, the UK has so far escaped a lot of the Cordon television presenting that the US was landed with when he moved to LA to present The Late Late Show. But in 2023, he came back to Blighty, and it's only a matter of time before we start seeing him on our screens again.
I wish I could wear one of those, you know, those biker jackets, the leather biker jackets, they're sort of cropped.
Thus far, he's kept a low profile, but how long until he's summoned to present the BAFTAs or the Brit Awards? His dreadful presenting decisions, like his numerous musical flash mobs, made the rounds in Britain too. Very few people are pleased to have him back on this side of the pond, unless he makes more Gavin and Stacey, of course.
It's Willard, young man, OK? I can tell you right now, here's the truth of it.
Number 2. Boris Johnson.
You're not aware of anything, Mark.
I think it's a bit early for you to start in on me on this show, Ian.
Politicians do regularly host Have I Got News For You, and some of them do all right. Nick Clegg managed to weather a bevy of criticism about his time in the coalition, after all. But Boris Johnson was never a huge fan of the show, during his times as a guest or his turn presenting. Not only has Ian Hislop made no secret of the fact that he despises the man, but Johnson isn't the best at hosting a TV show, especially not one where he has to hold his own against professional comedians and ruthless journalists.
This Boris Johnson was never meant to be let loose on the humankind!
He couldn't keep them in line, mixed up his cue cards, and couldn't think of any jokes of his own.
Everyone who attends gets a potato clock, and by 9 o'clock, they're out of the house and on their way to the awards.
What?
What?
Everybody who attends gets a potato clock.
Gets a potato clock.
Gets a potato clock. It's
a joke.
A potato clock.
Number 1. Harold Wilson.
Let me introduce the lady described by Jim Callaghan as the sexiest thing on television.
While it's normal enough for politicians to show up on the BBC's flagship political panel show, it's a bit less normal for a former Prime Minister to front a talk show. Maybe if they were the most charismatic and popular leader we'd ever had, it would make a bit of sense. But that description certainly doesn't fit Harold Wilson.
Who is the sexiest man on TV?
Oh, you mean next to you?
Well, I wasn't...
Oh, Terry Wogan, Barry Manilow, and you again.
He was terrible as a TV host when he appeared on Friday night, Saturday morning for 2 of its early episodes, unable to ask his guests interesting questions or respond to them in an entertaining way.
No, I think in my youth I did play Shakespeare, Desdemona and things like that, but I'm a bit past it now, I think.
Now, tell me...
Say no.
It's true that he may have already been suffering from dementia at this point, but we don't think even a young Wilson would have been a good interviewer. Let us know in the comments who you think should be banned from presenting for life.
No, shush, okay.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.